This video is part 2 of a series. Click in the top right corner to watch part 1. Piranha Plant, pipes up! Poor Piranha Plant, so forgettable in the long run that fans assume you're a delayed base game character even though that's never been officially stated. Your reveal trailer doesn't do much to help this. It's very low budget. All footage is recorded in-game with the debug camera, sharing this trait only with the Echo Fighter reveal trailers, but putting this in Echo Fighter's tier would be stupid. Piranha Plant isn't an Echo Fighter. It would also diminish this trailer, which uses its actual gameplay footage nicely. There's an ambiguous build-up to a reveal that has to take its time breaking through people's confusion and denial over a Piranha Plant being playable in Smash. First it appears in its pot, then it comes out of its pot, then it attacks and taunts Mario, and finally its splash screen appears, which doesn't use DF Gothic. What are you paying for? Obviously this isn't to the standard of most of the trailers, which makes ranking it among them difficult. Remember when I discredited this whole list by saying it was my opinion? That was a get out clause. Could be worse. Take your heart! Oh, thank goodness the reverse reveals are back. Was concerned we were going to go a whole DLC season without them. And guess what? This one works really well. For 38 seconds, this trailer hides its true purpose superbly. Where other trailers can seem suspicious solely by premiering at a Nintendo event, this premiered at the Game Awards 2018, a general gaming event. The concept of an invitation is relevant to not just Smash, but many other things. Same with the 10+ rating, which also legally has to be there, cut 'em some slack. As far as the viewer knows, this is just another Persona 5 project. Successfully hiding a twist like this makes the reveal hit significantly harder. So hard, in fact, that one of the voice actor's genuine reactions is left in the trailer. The hype from this continues with a scene of Joker revealing his persona that, while cool at first glance, doesn't explain to non-Persona fans what a persona actually is. However, that isn't enough to bring my views on this trailer down. Stylish 2D animation, entertaining dialogue. I forgot to mention there's a second version of this trailer on the Super Smash Bros. YouTube channel that removes the references to the Game Awards and the dialogue. The Game Awards version is better. And sublime execution of an idea tried numerous times before to varying results add up to the gold standard of reverse reveals. A spectacle. The Masked Rebel. Can I review this? Is this a character reveal trailer? I went back and forth on this multiple times and eventually settled on ranking it here so you can laugh at my placement if you desire. Except I doubt many of you will find it that funny because I doubt you can decide if this counts either. Not that any potential comment wars will matter, because this is just the main party of Persona 5 commentating gameplay of Joker and Mementos. Conveniently, I haven't played Persona 5 and don't know these characters, leaving me in no position to deeply evaluate their interactions. They do a fine job explaining what they need to, except Futaba forgetting that a counter that's also a reflector has been allowed twice already. It serves its function of spoiling Joker with essentially 3 trailers, but that's not the main function of any of the other trailers I'm ranking, so it's a good thing I have a get out clause. B-Movie's got nothing on this. Heroic Encounter. Now this is a Smash trailer. It opens straight into a brilliantly animated fight between Link and a dark uncontrolled puppet of Marth, duking it out until the former gets tackled by a Meta Knight puppet. With Link now fighting an uphill battle against 2 opponents, the camera cuts to a white horse galloping through the forest with only its legs visible in the shot. It's near impossible to tell who could be riding this horse. Except for massive Dragon Quest fans remembering that the Luminary has a white horse, and in doing so, finding a possible explanation for why Darkon is present in this trailer. Sure enough, as Link's situation gets increasingly dire, the sneak peeks of him become increasingly clear. First his still obscure back at 33 seconds, then his nondescript eye 3 seconds later, then his complete silhouette as he jumps off his horse and slashes the darkness away, and finally, himself in full daylight as moving close-up camera shots and triumphant music that isn't in the game welcome him in full glory. If a trailer tries to hype a specific character up, this is how to do it. That's not all. Like Vampire Killer, this also interrupts its gameplay montage to show the newcomer struggling before receiving help. In this case, by previous Dragon Quest heroes Erdrick, Solo, and 8 from Dragon Quest VIII for the PlayStation 8. It was fantastic back then, and it's still great now. The action, the theming, the build-up, the reveal, the second reveal, they all add up to an experience that's plain awesome with no compromises necessary to achieve this. Another crowning jewel of Smash trailers, it deserves the title of spectacular. Best friends! At long last, after 2 decades of fans clamouring, Banjo and Kazooie were added to Smash. What better way to let the world know of this triumph than reusing a previous character's trailer? This trailer is a reprise of The Rivals, but this doesn't successfully pan out when Banjo and Kazooie are fundamentally different characters from King K. Rool. For starters, the hero and villain montage is repeated, now with an extra theme for the DKs and the K. Rools. This was originally used to hype up another villain from a series with existing Smash representation, yet here it's used for the exact opposite, a hero from a series with no Smash representation. This has no logical ties to Banjo, it's redundant, but it's still here for some reason. Combined with the Donkey Kong close-up being repeated right after, I can't help but wonder if Nintendo was seriously trying to bait Lord Frederick from Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze as Smash DLC, thinking people would fall for this. Or maybe they were trying to conserve the trailer budget. It was the budget. Like the trailer it's reprising, this trailer is kept afloat by smaller gags. The bait and switch with Duck Hunt Duo if you're British is another reprise that falls flat because we know from last time that it's fake. But scenes like K. Rool breaking the wall in Donkey Kong's treehouse and later getting buried under a boulder are funny and original while keeping the spirit of those in the Rivals. Banjo, you're a good boy who's only struggling in this cruel world that we live in. Your situation could be worse. Your trailer could be in disappointing tier. Breaking news, The Challenger and The Legendary Wolf. Both of these are essentially the same trailer. If you want to redistribute the trailer wealth, Joker and his 3 trailers, 2 of which are also essentially the same, are right there. Breaking news, The Challenger, hope I don't have to say that often, opens with a timeline of Nintendo consoles in which the Pokemon Mini has fallen victim to 1984 and been replaced by the Neo Geo. I question the effects of this timeline. It would make the most sense if it were for a Nintendo character that's commonly associated with a particular era, but Terry isn't a Nintendo character. It highlights the Neo Geo's competition with the SNES, but the TurboGrafx 16 and especially the Mega Drive, Genesis if you're American, were much larger competitors that people typically associate with the 4th generation of consoles before the Neo Geo. Maybe I'm nitpicking, or maybe I'm right because the Legendary Wolf omits this part and gets straight to the good stuff. Now the trailer follows many characters from SNK's fighting games trying to grab the elusive Smash invitation, remixing and parodying various themes from their games along the way. This works great for everyone watching. SNK fans will recognise the references and still be surprised by their applications here. They'll laugh at Geese simply jumping off his tower instead of being knocked off, and be as confused as I am about why Iori is doing his win pose when he loses the invitation. They'll also be on their toes guessing who the Smash fighter could be. This concept is possible because SNK have multiple possible candidates for a crossover like Smash, as opposed to one character that's obviously going to appear before anyone else. Non-SNK fans will appreciate the variety and speed at which the trailer moves at. By fate, aka trailer direction, the invitation lands at the feet of Terry, revealed with a very smooth transition from 2D pixel art to 3D models. The Legendary Wolf continues here with a standard gameplay montage that I won't review, but breaking news, The Challenger ends here. It has a unique premise that it succeeds at executing on the first try. Amazing! The Ashen Demon. There comes a time once in every Smash game's life cycle in which the trailer directors inexplicably forget everything they have ever learned about directing reveal trailers, and from this disaster produce an abomination, a mockery of the craft, easily the worst reveal trailer for the entire game. This is that trailer. It opens with the camera panning down from a cloudy sky to a woodland horizon, and already it spoiled the surprise. This is supposed to be a reverse reveal, but it premiered at a dedicated Smash event and had the Smash trailer intro 9 seconds prior. It can't be both types of reveal at the same time. That just gives everything away in the first few seconds and ruins the pacing for the next 4 minutes. This has got to have a lot to it to justify being that long. Does it pull through with this? It doesn't even try. It just plays out a somewhat spoilery scene from Fire Emblem Three houses for a whole minute until Sothis and her grating voice mentions Smash. Any suspense this tries to build is wasted on the viewer, who knew it was Smash for all that time. If this premiered at the Game Awards 2019, where Nintendo didn't announce anything new, and where 3 houses, 1 player's choice, this still wouldn't have been that effective because straight up repeating a scene from the original game isn't exciting. People who've played the game know what will happen, and people who haven't won't be very engaged by a text box exchange. It has to change things up in order to entertain. It takes another 18 seconds to go from the first mention of Smash to Byleth's splash screen, after which Solon decently summarises the trailer so far by lifting a line directly from 3 houses, swapping the subject of the sentence with Smash, and passing it off as peak writing and entertainment. Cue gameplay montage. That's only halfway. Now we're back in the void, home to this girl who we just can't get enough of with such irresistible masterpieces of character writing as
Too many swordsmen, are there?
this line. It tries to mock the crowd that complains about Smash having too many anime sword fighters, failing to take into account that this is a legitimate concern that even Fire Emblem fans have regarding the series' Smash representation. For official material to implicitly boil it down to platformer fanboys being unreasonably upset at extra content gives the impression that they hear the people but choose to mock them, and comes off as irresponsible. So is mocking groups of people in general, especially when they're not inherently doing anything wrong. This isn't even about a DLC pack for a video game crossover anymore. This is about the general flow of internet discourse that evolves into plain bullying because many people see quick dopamine up for grabs and instantly forget that their words can come at the expense of others even if it's only a joke. A corporation is pretty much alienating and starting fights amongst thousands of their fans worldwide, all for what? Their sick amusement? They can do plenty of that in real life, it's called capitalism! Byleth switches genders and gets more weapons. There's a joke here about the ambiguity of which of these Sothis meant when she commented on Byleth's plan to win the day. I say joke very loosely because this is incredibly unclear and not funny at all once it's realised. The reason for this lies in a Fire Emblem tradition: localization screw-ups. In the Japanese version of this trailer, Byleth essentially gets told to man up before changing into a woman. This is clear. This is funny. On the topic of barely jokes, female Byleth gets a second splash screen. This is plain confusing. Cue gameplay montage number 2. Now with Sothis voiceover, yay! And she's describing hitboxes and frame data like there's some revolutionary new innovation, yeah! You may have noticed by now that this trailer as a whole follows the exact same formula as Corrin's reveal trailer for the previous game over 4 years prior. Reverse reveal shown at a Smash event, imitates the scene from the original game for too long, bad jokes from other characters, reveals the protagonist to the newest Fire Emblem game whose addition to Smash would be controversial. This one even goes the extra mile in comparison. At this point I'm convinced this is intentional. A giant troll from Sakurai. I can't fathom how he could direct such an outrageous trailer otherwise. This commits every cardinal sin of Smash reveal trailers, and then some. Not even disappointing tier will suffice. This trailer needs its own tier at the very bottom of the list. Heck you. I may have gone overboard just then. Byleth's addition to Smash only adds more content to this marvellous triumph of a video game, which is always a plus. I apologise if this opens the floodgates to Smash roster discourse again. Don't talk about Smash online, kids.